Well, that does not go with what I said at all. Unless they're incentivizing the Eastern House to do for what I said. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back with another episode of Yatagarasu. As always, I come back with notes and a board, so let's go ahead and hop into the board and see what has changed. So, we have the board changelog, as we always do, where I added the unnamed red-haired guy and tied him to Natsuka with a green line. I added Shoin and connected her with a green line to Omurasaki. I thought about adding a blue line from Mashu to the prince, given that Mashu says that they are cousins. But there are a number of things that I think make that a meaningless line if I were to add it. Worthy of note, but not much else. One being the fact that she is vying to be his courtesan, so implying a direct familial relationship on the board would make that a bit odd. Maybe down the road, if there is a connective family member. The other thing being that these are noble houses that compete to enter the royal line once in a generation. There are likely many noble cousins, as I said, a meaningless line. I added a white line, connected Lady Takamoto to Yukiya, and I added Samamo and connected her with a green line to Asebi and Fujinami. And I didn't get any weigh-in from y'all, but I did add a changelog to our current location board, as I think we're like far enough in now where people aren't moving around and more just like appearing where they are, so it might not even matter. I moved Natsuka from north to center, and then I added unnamed red-haired guy, Shoin, and Samomo to center, because, they appear there. Not so much, again, not so much moving, only one person has really moved, but more so the center is just filling with people now. Anyway, as I said, got a whole note log here. Note log, I don't know what the hell I'm saying anymore. The scroll at the start of the episode reads, "When a Kinyu is born, drought follows. When a Kinyu is born, flood follows. When a Kinyu is born, great strife follows, and many Yatagarasu perish." And the art on the scroll shows a floor in the east, fires, I assume representing the drought, in the south, and what appears to be death. Again, I assume strife in the west. Sorry. I just realized I continued reading as though nothing I said was wrong, and I just realized I read a typo, and I'm like, what the hell was I talking about? The scroll shows a flood in the east, fires, I assume, being the drought in the south, and what appears to be death, again, I assume strife in the west. What I meant to say. It's interesting that nothing seems to be happening in the north. More so that one of our main point of view characters is also from the north. I would have defaulted to thinking that this would be a northern scroll, try and make the person reading it know the importance of vying to be the prince's consort or something. But the scroll is from center, and it's my guy Natsuka as a child asking. So I guess the last emperor, as he says grandfather, and the current emperor would be his father. I guess I don't know if I should have added the last emperor to the board or not, because that's the only time we've seen him so far. But I don't have any information on him. Something in my head now, so possibly next time. Just a note about the opening: there is that shot of a bunch of characters' eyes and mouths, but the characters that we get the panning shots for are the four consorts, Natsuka, the prince, and the empress, with Yukiya making an appearance at the end. I guess being the biggest implication of who the main characters of the story really are. I collected a list of the tasks the prince was giving to Yukiya, just to see if there was anything more to them than what was done. I got this whole checklist of things. There's no reason to read them out specifically. He organizes the books, cleans the room, returns the library books, waters the plants, returns this to the Ministry of Ceremonies, collects the letter from the Civil Bureau, uh, picks up the next batch of books from the library, opened the letters and sorted them, cleaned the stables. He doesn't have the mail collected by noon, so Sumio gets sent to pick them up. By the end of the day, the only things I can't really confirm that he's done is get more paper or refill the trough and jugs. I know he's cleaning the stables. I don't know if he refilled the water, though. Consider the order you ought to work in before you act. The prince says when confronted with the fact that Yukiya hasn't retrieved the letters yet, then asks if doing his illiteracy work is something he ought to do when Yukiya suggests it's something he needs to get done, making me think that the prince is working on something more important right now than either the consorts or his homework. Well, if not for the fact that they then spend time spying on the consorts later. But then, if I can't guess what important thing he might be doing, then I can't say that it might not be related to the consorts in some tangential way either. So the horse, Yatagarasu, are just indentured to be stuck in that form until their term of service is up, meaning that the horse that pecked at Yukiya in the stable was a person, more than likely trying to bring attention to something. Yukiya changes his robes right after, so one might assume that the horse knew something and was indicating towards it. I'm working under the presumption that they've maintained their intelligence and aren't just pecking like an animal might. In my reaction to last episode, when the camera pans back to the pots, I think I mentioned that I thought that maybe Yukiya had screwed up due to one of the plants dying while the other thrived. In hindsight, I think that might be the point. Either the prince is doing an experiment, or it's a sign of the current state of things. Which is to say, either the well is poisoned and is killing the plants, or the groundwater has gone bad and the prince watering specific plants with it only is a test to try and figure that out. Either way, I think that is a sign as to what the prince is up to, and nothing to do with Yukiya's activities that day. Interestingly, Kie says that one aspect of true Kinyu is the ability to change shape, even in the darkest of nights. I guess implying that ordinary Kinyu are hindered by darkness when it comes to shape changing. Another note of the conversation with Kie, we talked about the red light district and the fact that the prince vanishes for 3 days at a time. Remember that the crown prince's mother was a concubine. We haven't been given any information on what happened to her. The letters could be code, for all we know, and he could be spending time with his mother, if not allies of his mother. We were given reputations from the different areas. East for scheming, west for frivolity, and north for obstinacy. I have to think this is a clue for us that Asabi isn't what she appears to be. It would be quite the coup to have this character be who the show latches onto in the early episodes, only to have her reveal later on that she's a schemer and not at all innocent as she appears to be. That seems to be what Hamio is saying as Asabi is leaving and she's talking to Mashu. How delicate can one person be? Maybe implying that Asabi's acting is too much. So Yukiya gets slapped for transforming in front of the consorts, but the 2 guards that were pinning him down also transformed in front of the consorts. I get that the guards did it to chase him down, but you'd think they'd have horses in the air specifically to make sure that this scenario didn't happen, especially if transforming in front of nobility is such a no-no. I mean, they also transform back into person form in the water, so they didn't care at all about that faux pas. My last note here, the prince received a warning that someone in the Cherry Blossom Palace was an assassin waiting to come for him. So, I mean, obviously I'm thinking asebi at this point. I know, like, in my earlier notes, I said, oh, asebi's got, I'm 100% on her side. I think that's the point. If not, the element is that if that one person hadn't said, that one person, the prince, I think it was, if they hadn't said that the East is all about scheming, and then Hamyo didn't say, how delicate can one person be? They cast so much shade on her in like a minute of time that now I have just 100% doubts about Asebi. I have to think that she's the assassin. The North is obstinate, and having that girl be obstinate doesn't make me think that that's coming from a place of, trying to kill somebody. The other girl is just a haughty-toddy to the point that I don't believe that she's anything but what she appears to be. Like maybe these are good shields from my perception, that maybe they're assassins. I don't know, but I think that's what's going on. Obviously, Hamio just seems to be too experienced about everything, but to the point of also not caring. I have to think that if you're an assassin, you're not going to be doing the things that are going to push you away from your target. And Asebi very much feels like she's the one who's pulling towards getting the prince closer than anybody else is, actively doing. So that's my bet. I'm putting my money down on the table right now. It's Asebi is out to kill the prince. Unfortunately, now what I need is motive. I don't know. Maybe this boils down to who the family of the Kinyu currently is, right? Because we've covered before, or we haven't covered before, I've talked about before, who is the family of the Empress? Who is she supporting and trying to actively get to be the consort of her son? Because if you're already in the ruling house, wouldn't you also try to make sure that your family stays in the ruling house? And I feel like we're going to find out that the Empress is somehow related to the houses of the East. Well, anyway, that is my notes. That's been the board. That's also been the current location logs and everything. So nothing really left to do but to hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, right where we literally left off. They called the Imperial meeting at night when he wasn't around. I mean, clearly it was the Empress. I mean, Shoin was put up to this by the Empress. Did he have to be present to ratify it? No, Red Guy. That was definitely Red Guy's outfit. Unfortunately, on the face of it, the Lord of the North is the only one I can recognize on face.
よしくない傾向かもしれませんな。
かくなる上は改めて皇太子を選び直すべきかと。
それが目的か。一体どなたのご意向かな。
くちばしを慎まれよ。陛下の秘書
Still
官
your
である
beak. I mean, they are
私の言葉
birds.
いわば陛下のお言葉。
これは若宮殿下。少々来るのが遅かったようですな。
ロコン。
Now we finally get his name, Rokan.
ご冗談を。夏香様
Oh, he's a bodyguard. I thought he was a warlord or something.
そんなことせずとも、もうこの門は内側から鍵をかけられているのですから。
You gonna transform?
開けよ。
それでは採決を。
Is this magic? Is magic?
何事だ。
I feel weird saying, is this magic in a world of transforming bird people? Somehow I knew we got the one eyeball look up thing that we weren't going to get a speech right there, that was going to be the cut to the opening. And yes, I know I've said this a number of times, but as a reminder, I have to talk over the opening of the episode, copyright reasons being chief among them. So, we had the village on fire. I think it was seen in episode 1, where we saw Rokan, and then there was the guy who's wrapped up, like, sorry if you haven't seen the show, like a recent episode where Jinshi was trying to hide his identity, same sort of facial wrap sort of thing. And, I don't really know if that was Natsuka or the prince or not, but I'm assuming it's Natsuka, considering now we know that Rokan is the bodyguard of the Natsuka. And I have to wonder if Natsuka is behind what happened there, or was merely there investigating. We have no real evidence of if Natsuka is a bad guy, or a good guy, or neutral. The element that we already talked about, or they talked about, how do we use this, right? They want pawns. But he's also sitting there in front of everybody disputing whether the prince should remain the prince, and he's not, like, objecting. I don't know if that's a position thing or not.
若宮はまだ大花宮には参らぬとな。はい。なかなか勘は働くと見える。だが、うつけでは金運は務まらぬ。お前もそう思わぬか。いずれ夏香を減属させ、正式な皇太子にするつもりだ。そのためには何としても若宮を拝着せねばならぬ。南家のために。
Oh, that does not go with what I said at all. Unless they're incentivizing the Eastern House to do for what I said.
なんかおっかなそう。夏香様だ。ミスの奥。あれが今の金。
こそこそとつまらぬ真似を。松陰、誰がお前の後ろにいるのか皆知っていることだ。おかげで手間が省けた。
I mean, that might be why Hamio is so uncaring about everything, is that she just knows the Empress is working in her favor.
山内に2羽の金運は災いのもとだ。あなたはいわばつなぎだった。そして私は帰還し、あなたは役目を終えた。そこをどきなさい。
That's pretty ballsy.
お前、よくも父であるこの私に、お前に私の何がわかる。私の何が
もういい。ご苦労であった。
I guess.
連れて行ってやりなさい。
Under what authority, though? I mean, I understand that he just made like a bad look for himself,
さ
but
てこれで問題は一つ解決したな。次は
今のはあまりにむごいなさりようではありますまいか。
兄上。
仮にも陛下は20年の長きにわたり山内を治められたお方。もう少し穏便な方法もあったはずです。
I just don't know how they have authority to
兄
just
上
like
は
command
本
him
当
out
に
of the
口が
throne.
回る。うつけな弟を見てもどかしく思うこともあるのではないか。もし自分が皇太子であったらと。
めっそうもない。私がここに出向いたのは、ひとえに
I mean, technically, he did abdicate the throne. They didn't say that like, they had to pull him out or he fought for it.
私が取って変わるなどありえぬことでございます。
では誓えるか。今ここでひざまずき、神戸を垂れ、私に忠誠を尽くすと。
I mean, if he was planning to betray you, then lying doesn't seem like it would have much consequence.
南大宮家の厚房か。なんだ。恐れながら。夏香様に双心の
Getting all the Natsuka's people on board now.
夏香様は常に山内を思い、常に若宮殿下のことを。
よい、厚房。親愛なる誠の金融陛下に神明をとして忠義を尽くすとお誓い申し上げまする。
それでいい。
お待ちください。まだ4家の同意を得たとは言いかねる状況と思いますが。
わしは最初から言うているであろう。誠の金融であるという以外に何が必要なのかと。
I mean, does it matter if the elder brother just did that in front of everybody? Yeah, exactly.
一つお伺いしたい。
ホッケの原野校か。なんだ。
即位には妃を伴うのが慣例。しかし殿下は花町には足しげく通うも、一向に大家宮には足を運ばれぬ。
He's got the one goal and he's working it.
終わりか。返答遺憾では同意いたしかねますぞ。
当然だ。1年後に金羽の即位式を行う。その前には必ず一人の姫を入内させよう。帰るぞユキヤ。
あ。
Yeah, it's really hard to tell.
1年だ。それまで何としても。
I honestly, it's like, even if he bows and everything like that, if he was planning betrayal, then it doesn't matter because the betrayal still happens no matter what.
見ての通り、そうじもいよ。お前のための宴だ。遠慮せず飲みなさい。
そんな緊張しないで。あなたの歓迎会なんだから。そうよ。今日は全部。
And I feel like him visiting the other location that was on fire is proof of the strife. So I guess we're looking for drought and flooding.
北領の武家は産湯代わりに酒に浸からせると聞いたが。
ほらほら坊ちゃん、楽しみましょう。ちょっと接近に。やだ、かわいい。
正月楼は賑やかだな。また例の若様か。
そうじまいだってよ。景気が良くて羨ましいや。
接近は向こうだぞ。
ですね。
今日は4個だ。
I mean, that's gotta be a thing. We don't know what that's about.
若様、僕は呆れてんですよ。
そうなのか。
だってそうでしょ。視覚に狙われているってのに、こんな物騒なとこで護衛もつけずに大騒ぎして、あの会議だって、あれじゃ敵を増やしに行ってるようなもんじゃないですか。
私を心配してくれるのか。
I mean, you're literally one of 2 servants.
もういいです。
And you can't go home for another year because that was your agreement with your mother.
朝の花町ってなんか別の町みたいですね。
I guess technically he's got leeway though. He's been here for like over a month. The other guy's gonna get married within a year, he promised. So the other guy's gonna be able to leave before this guy has to get married.
その刀をこっちに渡せ。
何の用だ。金が目当てか。
ぐだぐだ言ってねえで言う通りにしろ。
若様。
分かった。言う通りにしよう。
Oh, Shio. On the next time on... Oh, sorry, Sumo. On the next time on, for some reason I thought that was Yukiya. Magic must be a thing in this world. I don't think the guy took some poison pill or something. Or they poisoned him ahead of time. Never mind. I don't know. The open thing at the very beginning. I don't know if magic's real or not.
誘拐が目的ならこんなに早く回る毒は飲ませません。目的は一つ。私の命か。ユキよ。
殿下。
少しは良くなったか。
申し訳ありません。見苦しい姿を。
無理をするな。
はい。殿下は襲ってきたのが何者かご存知なのですよね。
One has to wonder if this is like the first time that this has happened.
それでも聡明な夏香様を惜しんだ宮ガラスが密かに夏香派を形成。夏香様の母上である皇后が何か企んでいるという噂があるのだ。
Does that imply Natsuka is also from the southern houses?
皇后の出身家である南家だ。だが会議を見て分かったろう。私に味方をしようという者は皆無だ。
Surprising that the Northern Lord, or the Southern Lord, didn't speak out in Natsuka's benefit.
幼い頃から私は命を狙われてきた。その犠牲になった一人が私の母だ。母はかつてお前が大花宮で見た姫たちと同じように期待に胸を膨らませて祭家の姫として登殿した。
Okay, well now we know where he's coming from.
側室として迎え入れられ、私と妹の藤波を産み、そして陰謀の巻き添えとなり、命を落とした。
Well, we know she was dead, but I don't think we understood that she was killed.
彼らは私を政治利用したいだけで味方ではなかった。
だから留学を。
ああ、 大花宮に来るなと警告文を送った者もそんな事情を知り哀れんだ誰かであろう。この年になりようやく彼らに対抗する術を得山内に戻ってきた。だが宮ガラスのクブクリンが敵と言って過言ではない状況だ。
And yet, you could still order the last emperor out of the throne.
お前がなってくれないか。
は？
私の近習に。
近習って。ってあの近習ですか？出世街道まっしぐら未来の側近ってことですよ。
そうだ。ゆくゆくは
Maybe not the best way to put that, because now it just sounds like that's what you're after. Fast track to
待ってく
success.
ださいよ。なんでそうなるんですか？僕なんてしがない地方貴族のボンクラジなんですよ。中央貴族の
You
もっと
specifically
育
said
ちが
you
良
did
くて
not want a
賢い坊
blockhead.
ちゃんがいるでしょ。
言いつけた仕事をすべて時間内にこなしたのはお前だけだ。
そりゃ中央の方は転身の習慣がないから移動するにもわざわざ馬を借りに行ったんでしょ。
水を与えている花が枯れていてもそのまま放置していたね。
それは滝の水と井戸の水の違いを調べておいでだと思ったので。
監視分の課題もやらなかった。
あなたが必要としていないと思ったから。
すべて正解だ。しかし他の者たちは花が枯れると慌てふためき夜は寝ないで課題をやっていた。
Really?
中にはこっそり人を
I thought they just got fucking overworked or something.
殿下も意地が悪いっちゃ悪いと思いますがね。
お前はボンクラではない。ホッケでの騒ぎも何か意図があってのことだろう。
ああでもしなきゃ貴族の横暴からタルヒを守ることができなかったんですよ。あなたこそみんなの言うようなうつけじゃないのでは。
人が私をどう見ようと私には興味がない。
とにかくお断りいたします。とても名誉なお話ではありますが。
そうか。確か1年待たずに返されると軽装員に入れられてしまう。
That's what I was bringing up before. He has to stay here at least a year.
何なんですか？今度は脅し？
脅しではない。ただそうだったなぁと。
ちょっと待った。ホッケの宴にもいなかったのになんでそんなこと知ってんですか？
だって私は誠の金羽だもの。
I assume there's some at least rumor mill or spy network or Lord
私も1年以
Kie.
内にケリをつけるつもりだ。大花宮から妻を迎え正式に即位する。だが私の命を狙う者を捕らえる前に妃を受代させるわけにはいかない。
What, every 999 out of
心
1,000?
から信頼できる味方が必要なのだ。私は無能だしうつけと呼ばれても仕方ないと思っている。だけどねユキヤ、これでも人を見る目は確かなつもりだよ。お前は絶対に私を裏切らない。なぜなら私がお前に寄せた信頼以上にお前にとって価値のあるものを
Man, that's pretty good.
敵が用意できるとは思えないからだ。
Also, this would help your brother, which we know that you are all about trying to do.
わかりました。あなたの近習になりましょう。
そうか、引き受けてくれるか。
ただし最初の約束通り1年経ったらおいとまします。僕の大切なものは家族とタルヒという故郷ですから。
うん、構わん。
I mean, I don't know. It seems like your brother could use your aid here to help him there more.
ユキヤが承知したぞ。私の近習になってくれるそうだ。
お、マジでやったじゃねえか。
ああ、
ああ、実は俺たちガキの頃からの付き合いなんだ。そんでも人前じゃあんまり砕けててもまずいだろ。
スミオ様。
スミオでいいって。驚かせてごめんな。けど
So he was like the first outside person in the friend group.
感じでよろしくな。は
あ。
まあ、うまくいってよかったな。今回はちょっとやばいかと思ってたからよ。
ああ、危ない橋を渡った甲斐があった。
すみません。
なんだ。
今、危ない橋をなんとかって言いました。
Were you not there when everyone tried to attack them?
聞いた通りだが。
つまり、狙われていると分かっていて、わざと？
お前を説得するためには、私の現状を分かってもらう必要があると思ってな。午前会議で刺激しておいたし、そろそろ来ると当たりをつけていたのだ。
当たりって。じゃあ、どんちゃん騒ぎも。
もちろん、族をおびき寄せるための餌だ。効果てきめんだ。
But you didn't get any names about the person who would order the attack.
どんだけ敵を舐め腐ってんだ。族をおびき寄せる餌だ。いつか死ぬぞマジで。
まあ、こいつ悪気はねえから。
は？
Like Sumio just has like the ultimate confidence in his own skills.
大丈夫。俺は分かってる。ただこいつはこういうやり方しかできないんだ。お前もいずれ分かるとは思うけど。
というわけだ。
あんたが言いますか。
ユキヤ、お前がいれば100人力だ。よろしく頼むぞ。
Unfortunately, there's 9 times that amount that are coming after you, as you said.
1年だけですからね。
Sumio's got to train you to be a better swordsman than we saw you be up front, north. I'm assuming that's what we were seeing happening there at the end. I legit don't know what we were looking at in the way of where he was being dragged off to, because that's not a location that we've seen before in the show. It looked like a rocky outcropping with a bunch of houses built into it, which of course would make sense if you were a bunch of birds who could transform into people. Then you just fly up and, wherever you wanted to live. Plus, I think we've seen plenty of locations like that in real life. Or I've seen images of places like that in real life. So, usually like built under, in canyons or over waterways and whatnot. So, not an impossible thing. Also, for some reason it's coming to me, I've seen that in Full Metal Alchemist, the movie, Sacred Star of Milos. But yeah, slightly confusing. I mean, it establishes Natsuka, my guy, is a threat, and to be fair, I typically get drawn as villains, so makes sense. But again, was the door voice coded to that guy? Like, how did that work? I feel like that was magic. And then the element, Yukiya calls it out later. Stupidity.
1年限りの約束で引き受けた近習の役目。図らずも谷合に潜入したユキヤは世にも恐ろしい会合を目撃する。若宮襲撃の黒幕は誰なのか。次回粛清。
Okay, well, I mean, that doesn't bode well. Gets dragged into the ravine, though. So that's where we saw him there. So that wasn't for training. That's to witness something. And they called the next episode A Purge, but I don't know if we're getting into that already, because I think this has like over 20 episodes. Feels like if we were to purge the government of everyone that's acting against him, we're not going to have much of a storyline to go. So it must be a purge in some other aspect, or some other reasoning. But yeah, no, what I was saying was the stupidity of calling out your enemies and then just getting attacked. Sumio may be a master swordsman. I mean, he very clearly seems to have been. But I don't know. That was a lot of dudes. That was a lot of dudes, and you never know how many they're willing to call out on you. So, you don't think that's a play you can make. It's way too risky. That said, though, what else? Again, it was mostly that I feel like either I'm forgetting something, or this was just a 3-part episode. The part in the beginning where we threaten to do a secondary vote about who the next Kinyu is going to be. we went through that. I still don't. Maybe it's gonna come to me in the rewatch. I just do not understand how he just like called out the current Kinyu, who freaked out, and then he's like, "Thank you for your service, goodbye," and then now I'm sitting in the throne. That just felt like it was out of nowhere. And then there was, of course, the middle segment, the Pleasure Palace, the Pleasure District, and the assault. And then we're on to Be My Aid. And maybe the episode was super quick, but it doesn't feel like that's exactly how fast the episode ran. So I think there's a lot of this episode that I'm just going to have to pick back up in the notes, because for some reason it's just escaping me, except for those 3 very specific segments, and I feel like I'm missing something or forgetting something. But I think, yeah, my biggest question remains, why didn't the Southern Lord chime in when it came to putting Netsuka into power, unless Netsuka doesn't want to become in power off of that, right? Jeez. I'm just looking at Toru on the board, and it's like, I wouldn't recognize that guy in the lineup. I remember Akira was talking quite a bit, and of course, what's his name, Genya, Lord of the North, and Lord of the West, Akira. But I do not remember Toru speaking, or Kazumichi. No, sorry, Kazumichi is not the Lord I'm talking about. Haruhito and Toru are the 2 that I would not be able to pull out of a lineup. So, I don't know. Anyway, that said, I think I'm just going to wait till the notes on the board next time when I rewatch this episode and do all of that. So for now, I have been Theta, this has been Stone-Faced Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?